Hello everyone! In this week's vlog I'm going to talk about meal planning, how I do it, how I choose the meals that I have and the impact that it has on me. I never used to meal plan before I lost weight. When we would go shopping we would just go and as we walked up and down the aisles think, oh, that looks good, we'll have that, which also ended up going down the biscuit aisle, the chocolate aisle, and picking up things that again just looked good. This led to obviously weight gain, added cost to your shopping trip, and just unnecessary food buying. And it also led to waste as well, because we'd end up buying so much food and then not eating it simply because it sounded good at the time. We tried to get away from this by not going when we were hungry, but it was still the same problem. We would just pick up food after food after food. So when I went on Cambridge weight plan and lost my weight, when I started eating again, not so much from step 2 or step 3 because the meals were very limited on what I could have, but from step 4 onwards it was meals I could then share with my family. And at that point I decided I need to meal plan. I need to decide what I'm going to be eating each day and therefore what I'll be buying. And this wasn't just to help with the food costs, but to help me cope as well, because it was so often a bad habit of mine that I would get home from work and not know what I was cooking for our meal and just decide, you know what, a takeaway's easier, I can't be bothered. Or it would be a modge of just baked fried food, if that makes sense. So like chicken nuggets, like chicken drummer or turkey drummer, was a big one for us as well. Loads of chips, things like the party foods that you get from the freezer section, the boxes. It's like 30 odd pieces and we'd eat that to ourselves in one sitting. So with the meal planning I hope to avoid that, and it's worked. And I find that when I meal plan I don't try to find excuses of things to eat for tea, because I know I have to make this because I bought the ingredients to make it, and because I'm buying fresh ingredients they have to be used, and I hate wasting food, so this keeps me on the straight and narrow. Now the only time that I do tend to stray from it is if it's food I know will last. So last night I had a no thought kind of evening meal, and I decided to have that because throughout the day I kept wanting to binge on things and I kept daydreaming about food I could go buy on the way home and just eat, and I wanted to eat my weight in just bad food. And so to stray from that I decided to have the no thought meal, which is where I don't think about how many calories I'm consuming. I don't worry about how it's going to impact me or how it's going to make me look. And it worked. And I decided to do that last night because I knew the food that I had and the meal that I had planned would last one more day. So yesterday's planned meal is happening tonight. So I mean, there's just one thing to keep in mind when you meal plan, is that if you're using it to keep you on track, you don't want to buy things that have a long shelf life, because the fresher the food, that means obviously it's going to go bad faster, so you need to use it. Now I suppose some people may say this is a very unhealthy way to go about eating and to have that thought with food, but for me it works, and I'm sure for a lot of people it works, because a lot of us have a bad relationship with food and we don't look at food as sustenance. We look at it as something that helps our emotions, it's comfort, it's a crutch of some kind. So this helps for me to re-establish that food is sustenance, but it doesn't mean that food has to be boring or tasteless or whatever. So when I meal plan I sit down and I think, what sounds good, what do I want, what have I been craving? And it doesn't matter what it is. If I've been craving KFC, then I'll try to think of a way to make fried chicken that's not fried, and that's how I do all my meals. I'll ask my husband, is there anything that you fancy this week? And he'll give me suggestions sometimes, and other times he said just make whatever you want. So what I do is I sit down and I have a think, what do I want? Have I had any cravings for anything? What's something we haven't had in a while? And I'll sit there and I go day by day, think of what I want, and then once I have a basis of what I want to eat that week, I will then try to think up a healthier version of it if I haven't done already. So with that said, I have my meal planning notebook, and I can show you that for the next week I have written down my meal plan and also my shopping list. Now, you'll probably notice that on my meal plan it's just an evening meal, and I do that because we both work full time. Well, I'm part-time, but it's 4 days a week. So for me, it seems a bit overkill to meal plan for breakfast, lunch and dinner. I do try to make meals with bigger portion sizes. That way I can then have something for lunch at work that I know is healthy, it's low calorie, and it's homemade, so I know what's in it. Occasionally I'll pop down to Sainsbury's, which is outside my work, and I'll get, a salad or something like that, but it's not very often. I also have my safe fallback lunch meals that I do at home, which is salad with avocado and beetroot, peanut butter and jam sandwich, 1 slice of bread, just things like that. Homemade noodle cups, which are really good, but those aren't things I plan. I make sure that I have ingredients to make different and various things for breakfast and lunch, but I don't plan them ahead. I just make sure that healthy ingredients are there, so whatever I fancy I can then make. But yeah, my evening meals, because that's where we struggled, those are structured. So when I pick a meal, so if we take one for instance here, I have on Monday, I want mac and cheese. Now, mac and cheese is a very naughty meal. It's carbs, it's fatty, usually it's quite salty. So what I'll do tonight is, now that I've written down the basis of what I need, or what I want I should say, I will now sit down and think, what's a healthy way to make this? And I'll come up with my own recipe. And then if I'm struggling to come up with my own recipe, I'll then look for one. Usually when I'm coming up with my own recipes, I'm sure a lot of you will know, it's not something you truly come up with on your own. You see various recipes and how they're made, the ingredients they use, and then you build on that. You either take things away, you add things to it, and you make it your own. And that goes with a lot of things. It goes with art, design, all sorts. Nothing is ever truly your own. It's an interpretation on things. And that's what I do. Sometimes stuff just comes straight out my head, and there you go, there's a recipe. And it may mirror somebody else's, but, how many times can you make a different kind of mac and cheese? So I'll do that tonight, and to be honest, it is time consuming. My meal planning, when I wrote down this week's, that took me, I would say, about an hour and a half to sit down and really think about what I wanted, the ingredients I needed, and to try to think of a basic recipe. Now, I'll sit down later tonight after I eat, and I'll think of more detailed recipe instructions for each one, I should say. And I'll then put that into my Fitness Pal as a saved recipe. That way I know all the macros for it, my calories, the fat, the carbs, and then it's stored for future use, rather than writing down on paper each single one, because that would just take ages. But yeah, that's how I meal plan. That's why I meal plan. It's worked for me really well so far. I can't remember the last time I haven't meal planned. There's been a few weeks where I forget and I try to meal plan in the car on the way to Aldi or to Morrison's, and it doesn't go well. So my suggestion to any of you, doesn't matter if you're on a weight plan at all or if you're on a specific one that has certain rules, meal plan. It helps. If you need to meal plan every meal, then meal plan every meal. If you only need to do one that you struggle with, like I do, then do that. But it helps me stay on the straight and narrow. It helps me eat healthy. It also helps with food cost as well. And when you meal plan, especially when you make it yourself, you are only eating the best ingredients because you know what goes in it. You're not going to be putting in a bunch of preservatives or added salt or extra fats to things. So it really is a really, really good thing to do. And I suggest that everybody go do it. Even if you're on a plan that has products that you use, like Slim and Save or Cambridge, meal plan with your products. It really helps, and it gives you something to look forward to, rather than just walking up and going, oh, I don't know which one to have, and you just grab a random product. So give it a go. Let me know what you think, and if it helps with you. I'll talk to you later.